Big sister time. I want to share with you what my experience was on MDMA and magic mushrooms so that if you're going through a healing journey and you don't have a lot of experience with psychedelics like I did, I can give you a little bit of a heads up about how my brain worked with these substances. So, hi everybody, my name is Jill. Welcome back to the Journey Sage. And this is the channel where I talk about how I healed childhood trauma-induced PTSD with psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy. The 3 journeys that I wrote about in Rescuing Jill, all 3 of them, MDMA was used, and in the 3rd journey, psilocybin was used. But subsequently, to kind of heal additional trauma, get rid of some of the cobwebs, to kind of understand some patterns, I have had psilocybin journeys, guided and non-guided. So I think I have a pretty good idea how the 2 substances work with my brain and my way of thinking. So first of all, I think you need to know I'm very much a visual person. I'm a chatty person. I obviously love talking. I was an English major. I was a teacher. So take into account the kind of person I am as I'm talking about my experience. So first of all, MDMA. The most important thing for me with MDMA is that it calmed my body down. And I always do this because I swear I lived like my shoulders up to here. It calmed my body down so that I could talk about the fear of my father, my, memories of seeing my mother after she shot herself, kind of horrendous stuff. I was finally able to talk about that stuff without my body going into fight or flight mode. But in terms of how the medicine, the MDMA, worked with my brain was very much imagery based. So how does our subconscious talk to us? It talks to us through dreams. For me, my dreams are full of imagery that a lot of times I have to kind of sit back and say, okay, what's really going on here? And that was not uncommon. The more I became comfortable with the psychedelic MDMA, the more I was comfortable with my guide and my therapist helping me out. And the imagery would be something I would remember more than any conversation during the actual journey. But during the integration, the days, weeks, months after the psychedelic journey, the medicine had somehow allowed certain memories to be able to float into my consciousness. I might be walking the dog and suddenly be remembering, my father flipping out over a bike or something like that. That imagery would be there. I would be remembering that, but I could actually picture myself as an adult watching that incident, my father kind of flipping out, and realizing, that's just him flipping out, and that's not the universe, and just having a completely different perspective. But being able to see that image almost like it was a movie versus feeling it as I was as that child getting yelled at, major difference. And so what I find in my integrations is let my imagination kind of take over, let any imagery come to mind, and then kind of work through what is my subconscious saying to me. Now, on the other hand, you have psilocybin, magic mushrooms, definitely the stereotypical neon visuals, okay? My first journey with psilocybin was really my 3rd therapeutic journey. Very small dose, a bit of visuals, but absolutely guided and directed and helped me kind of deal with a huge trauma point from when I was 5. Subsequent journeys, though, with only psilocybin, what I have noticed is that I've got the beautiful visuals, which are delightful. I find, and it could be because I'm used to being guided, I always have a very strong intention. I find that those journeys are much more verbal. It's almost like regular life goes away. All the, you have to go food shopping, you have to, walk the dog, you have to, A, B, C, D, D, all those kind of things kind of go away. And I can just really listen to my inner voice. And I can have a conversation. On one hand, I can say, what should I be working on? What should I look for? And then I will hear an answer. Might not be the answer that I want, but I'll hear an answer. For me, it's much more voice-based. It's much more verbal. I mean, you have the beautiful imagery, but I don't actually get any answers or any insights from the beautiful neon images. For me, being a rather verbal person, it all kind of happens verbally for me. And so it's a very different experience. In some ways, psilocybin for me is a lot more directive versus an MDMA journey is much more imagery based, and I have to kind of think about it and interpret it. And so I just wanted to share that because I'm sure that other psychedelics probably have different modalities of working with the brain. And I also think it depends on who you are as a person. And it's totally my opinion. I mean, I could totally be wrong about this. It's totally my opinion. I love imagery. I'm obviously very verbal. So it makes sense that that's the way the compounds would work for me. And I just mention it because if you're reading my memoir, that's my healing process. And it might be a little bit different for other folks, especially if there are other psychedelics involved. So there you go. Rescuing Jill and the companion workbook, they are both on Amazon. You can head on over to thejourneysage.com for more information and resources. And I hope this video was helpful to kind of explain a little bit of the differences that a patient might experience under the influence of MDMA versus psilocybin. Until next time, take care.